We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hey guys, welcome. Episode 39 of Vikings Uncensored. We're back again. We've gone through the kind of mini bye here after the Thursday night game last week against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And we're not playing again until Monday night against the Bears. So got a little news stuff to talk about first, then we'll roll in and do the recaps and fantasy challenge. And of course, our weekly awards segment, and we'll pick and prognosticate later on in the show and kind of go from there. Want to thank once again our sponsor, Boulder Tap House, craft burgers, craft beer, and an atmosphere the whole family will love. Was actually over there, and I had that Philly cheesesteak burger for supper tonight, and it was really good. So you guys are around, go check that out. Make sure, again, this week that you keep your eye out for the secret phrase, which will appear at the top of the screen with the big flashing purple background to it at some point in time during this episode. We don't know what it is yet. It'll be a comment that either Lance or myself will say sometime during the show. You see that, comment down in the comment section of the video. And you also have to be a subscriber. That's the only two requirements for your chance to once again get registered for this awesome Adam Thielen limited edition print that we will be giving away Wildcard Weekend, or our show for Wildcard Weekend anyway. With that, we will move into the news of the week. We just want to give a quick mention, our condolences and out to the family of Demaryius Thomas, of course,
Crazy man.
Most famously of the Denver Broncos.
Peyton Manning, Thomas connection.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was what, 33?
Young buck, man, 33.
Yeah, he just
too young, man.
Gone too soon. Real sad deal. So we just want to extend our condolences out to the Thomas family in this trying times, but beyond that, the big thing that has come out here, we're recording on Tuesday night. So
right.
Basically Monday evening and Tuesday, there has been a massive explosion of positive COVID-19 cases throughout the NFL. As of 8:00 Tuesday night, there were over 50 cases throughout the league now.
I believe in the morning it was 42,
43,
43, and now we're up to 50. So, I mean,
yeah, it's over 50. I forget what the exact number was, but I know it was 50 something. We have not been immune to it. Alexander Madison and Dan Chisena were put on COVID IR on Monday. And today, Dede Westbrook was also put on. And then two of our practice squad players, AJ Axel Rose Jr. and a guy I didn't even know was on our practice squad, wide receiver Tristan Jackson.
Yeah, whatever.
No idea who he is, but he's also on the COVID list.
Also picked up Willie Gallman.
Wayne Gallman.
From who's that?
Wayne Gallman.
Oh, Wayne. Yeah, excuse me. Willie Wayne, W name.
Close enough. Wayne Gallman, formerly of Atlanta, and probably more notably, he was a backup for, he was at Clemson, but he was also backup and played considerably last year for the New York Giants when Saquon Barkley was out. So we have him in as a third body. I know there was questions as to, well, why are we bringing him in when we have AJ Rose on the practice squad? Well, with AJ Rose also having COVID, it makes more sense now.
And I honestly believe that as much as we want to see, Obi Nwangwu Kenobi get some carries, I think he's still pretty green behind the ears. He wasn't utilized much in college either at running back. So I think the position he's still kind of catching on yet.
Right. But
speed will help you. Speed helps you get, especially get to the NFL level. It will help you get there. But I think he still has more to learn in the position.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, he needs to, we can't be running him up the gut and things like that, like we've done a few times we have. He's a guy you need to get out around the edge, get him out in space, swing passes, screens, things like that. I mean, we love throwing the damn screen passes. Throwing them to somebody like him with that speed makes more sense.
Yeah. Like Bennett, Michael Bennett back in the day.
Yeah.
Kind of like that with that track star speed.
So anyway, with that, we will move into the recap of the almost epically melted down, come from ahead to stay there win against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, it was, it went from being beautiful to ugly pretty fucking quick at the end there.
And when it went ugly, it went bad, coyote ugly.
Like historically bad.
Yeah. Like I said, started off great. We trucked on out to a 29-0 lead at one point in time.
I heard a bunch of the fans saying, where has this team been all year?
Where the hell have you been?
Enjoying death. 007 reporting for duty.
Right. And I mean, a big chunk of why we were doing that. And we talked about this before the game. I brought it up on the live cuts that we do, the pregame and quarter breaks and stuff, about Dalvin Cook actually being active. I mean, and I'll go on record. I mean, I thought it was a bad idea, he only being out for a week and a half, but that man tore that place up.
He did. He tore his shit up for sure.
I mean, 27 carries, 205 yards, and 2 touchdowns, a 7.6 yard per carry average.
And I believe a couple of clutch snags too towards the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Now, like in the first half, I think at one point in time, his average yards per rush was like 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly
those
don't.
holes that the offensive line were opening were huge, man.
Yeah, the offensive line was doing a good job, but on top of all this, I'm starting to question whether or not Dalvin Cook is actually human.
You better bring him inside.
You are so kind to take care of that man. You are a real humanitarian.
I don't think he's human.
Right. That's impressive. What he did with a hurt shoulder is impressive, man.
Allegedly 2 hurt shoulders, because I heard Courtney Cronin before the game saying that the separation and then the torn labrum was actually the labrum was the opposite shoulder from the one that he separated.
Wow.
So and that he's been dealing with for a little, a while longer than the separation. But regardless, I mean, the guy was just
poetic, man.
He was just on his own level that game.
He was in the zone.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson, a little bit of an up and down night. I mean, he had a couple of drops, but he was also getting double covered most of the time. So the coverage was a lot tighter on him. He did end up.
I did notice, and not to knock Kirk, of course, God forbid we don't want the Kirkistanis coming out here. A couple of the passes to Jefferson could have been placed a little bit better, in my opinion. Granted, when the ball hits you in the hands, you're supposed to catch the ball, but one was behind. He had to slow up and turn back around to try to grab, which wasn't an easy thing to do. I know I'm being ticky-tacky, but there were a couple passes there that could have been placed better, in my opinion.
And I had Kirk on the list to get into here in a minute, so we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But Jefferson, 7 catches, 79 yards, and a touchdown. KJ Osborne, 3 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. And that touchdown, of course, was that 62-yarder that basically put us back out to that 8-point lead that ended up being the difference in the game for the most part.
Take a little more time off this clock. Cousins keeps, airs it out. Osborne downfield. He's got it. Touchdown Vikings. And coming away looking for a push-off is Cameron Sutton, no flag.
Right.
Like you mentioned, the offensive line, didn't give up a single sack. Now, granted, it helped that TJ Watt went out early with a calf injury or something like some lower leg injury of some sort. So, I mean, that made a big difference. I'm not,
Looked pretty bored on the sideline.
Yeah. But the line didn't give up a sack and only 6 quarterback hits, which, I mean, you never want to get your quarterback hit, but
for being patchwork, I'll take it, man.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take it from any line. That was a good night.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and now, as we mentioned a second ago here, we'll bring on Kirk Cousins. Kirk did not have a good night. And I'm sorry. And if you want to jump all over us for bashing Kirk, go right ahead, because you know what?
Lose like 50 subscribers from this show.
Yeah. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? It is okay to admit that Kirk had an off game. It doesn't mean
to be critical of your team.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you're a Kirk hater if you admit that he had a bad. I saw people out on social media that could not admit to him having a bad game. They were coming up with excuse after excuse after excuse as to why. I mean,
it's such a touchy subject and it's embarrassing.
It is getting embarrassing. I mean, you've got the Kirkistanis versus the anti-Kirks, but then you got most of us in the middle that can be critical of the team or a player without it turning into a freaking holy war.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
Okay, Harris, let's not start a holy war here.
Which is exactly what it is.
Either way, you get accused of being on both sides.
Right.
You're in the position that we're in. So.
Yep. But Kirk's stat line, since they like to talk about stats with Cousins, 14 of 31, so he was under 50% with his throws.
Yeah.
For 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, to be fair, that first interception was on Justin Jefferson because he should have caught that one. He deflected off and got caught. But that other one was a terrible throw. I don't know where he was throwing.
Yeah.
Man, they've come out. They've done a nice job. Cousins pass is picked. Intercepted by Witherspoon. And he just ran out of gas at the 20.
I don't know if he was staring down the receiver or what he was doing, but defender jumped the route and but I mean, that's, the offense here again, we're doing fine for the most part, carried by Dalvin Cook. And then once the second half rolled around again, we kind of went into a shell, didn't do much other than that touchdown, like we mentioned, Osborne late. It's a tale of two halves, it seems like, every time with this team. But.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't. This whole season, man. This whole season.
So I guess with that, we'll move on to the defense. First half, the Steelers had no answer for our defense. I mean, we were blitzing, we were pressuring, we were beating the ever-loving snot out of Roethlisberger. I mean, he was sacked.
Yeah.
He was sacked 5 times and hit 7 more. Kendricks Harrison Smith, Sheldon Richardson, Armand Watts, and Michael Pierce all had sacks. Bashad Breeland had an interception even. Kendricks and
He
Barr,
also get up with a horrible touchdown at the end there.
right. So yeah, Breeland has one good play, and then the rest of the game was ass again. But Kendricks and Barr led the team in tackles. That was about the, and we were good through 2.5 quarters till midway through the third quarter, when we started turning the ball over. Then all of a sudden, Pittsburgh decided to wake up. We knew that Mike Tomlin was going to make adjustments. He's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing as far as being a coach. And
that's just the story of this year, though. It's not having complete games.
But, and I brought this up at halftime, that we knew Tomlin was going to make adjustments and that Zimmer was going to have to counter adjust to those adjustments, and he never did.
Dude, Zimmer had a 29-point lead to sit on.
Yeah. On the plus side, though, we did not give up any points at the end of the first half for like the first time this year.
I know. Right.
Hang the banner.
12-0, baby.
Woo!
Man. Yeah, like I said, and that touchdown that Breeland gave up towards the end there was probably the ugliest touchdown I've seen that we gave up this year.
And there's been a lot of ugly ones to choose from.
Yeah, I don't know, that one by Breeland this last week against Mouth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Ugly.
Yeah, and that's a tight end. It's not even a wide receiver.
Right. And then this game, like I said, it's been the story of all year. We can't have a complete game. We can look good for parts of games, and then completely look like ass for the same parts of the game, we can completely look like ass for other parts of the game and look awesome. It's all in one game, dude.
Right. Well, and like I was saying, towards the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter there, once Pittsburgh started rolling, then we had Chris Boyd out there who does his dumbass stand over the top of the receiver and gets called for taunting.
From the 35 now on 2nd and 10. Another quick throw, and it's complete to Washington. But right there is Chris Boyd, and now a flag for what happened after the play.
The flex. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense number 29.
And right at the end of this play, he gets right over the top of him. And
I mean, it was so bad that Xavier Woods and Anthony Barr basically kicked him off the field.
Yeah, I seen that.
And then he went over to the sidelines and got chewed out by a few other players. Andre Patterson chewed his ass out. Zimmer chewed his ass out. And then the dumbass goes and posts a picture of it on his Instagram after the game. But yeah, I mean, when we got to that, but once that started rolling and Ben started getting in a groove, we couldn't stop water from running uphill after that. Ben Roethlisberger became Big Ben again for a quarter and a half and started just walking us down the field. And it seemed to me again that we quit blitzing near as much in the second half.
Yeah, because we had a 29-point lead.
So there again, we're going to go conservative. We're going to sit on it. And now I know Zimmer was claiming, well, it's because they brought in an extra blocker and this and everything else. Then you scheme around that.
My first F-bomb today, by the way, I believe.
Yeah, not bad. We're 20 minutes in and you just dropped your first bomb. That's not terrible at all.
I'll take it.
But then again, as we have grown accustomed to for the season, it came down to the last play of the freaking game.
Stupid.
Harrison Smith with a hell of a hit on Pat Freiermuth, the tight end. That was a touchdown catch, and they would have been a 2-point conversion away from sending it to overtime.
End zone, Freiermuth, incomplete. Vikings win it.
And Harry hit him hard enough to knock the ball out, and that was game over.
Yeah. That's probably he's had a couple of those in his career. When he, I believe his rookie year, he made a play on Kelvin Johnson in the end zone that broke up a game that would have been a game winner, I believe, against us. And that was, I mean, it reminded me of that. So
well, he's had several of those over his career. I mean, they call him the hitman for a reason. I mean,
exactly. And I believe sometimes they target him as far as flags go. You know, I mean, he can lay a clean hit and they'll throw the flag.
Oh yeah, we saw that a lot last year. Hasn't been as bad this year, but last year was really bad with that.
Right.
So anyway, I mean, that's really all I've got as far as the defensive side of things go. You got anything more, or should we move on to the special teams?
Special teams. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Special teams.
I
I think I got everything I need to cover.
All right. Not a whole lot as far as special teams type stuff goes. They were smart and kicked away from Kane pretty much the whole game. He didn't have a single return.
Right.
Greg Joseph, of course, started out pretty shaky, missed a field goal, missed an extra point. But to his credit, he overcame it and hit everything else after that, which was crucial. Coverage teams again did their job. Jordan Berry had another solid night. But speaking of punters, what do you think about that punter for Pittsburgh?
Harvin?
Presley Harvin the third. That guy is freaking huge.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a brick shithouse for sure.
I was sitting there laughing. We're talking to some people. We start calling him Jabba the Punt. I mean, he was that. The guy he looks like he ate Roethlisberger. I mean, he's that big. He's a big dude.
Right, he's a big guy. Speaking of special teams, though, to start the game, both kickers had missed their first field goals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the game could have went differently as well had Pittsburgh nailed that first, field goal that they went for.
Right, because then it would have only been a 5-point game But right. that swirling wind inside US Bank Stadium was tough on the kickers to start with.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, I think that's about all there is on the special teams. So we'll move on to our favorite subject once again, the coaching. Again, to start off with, I thought Zimmer had a great game plan the first half of the game. We were aggressive. We were blitzing. They had no answer for our guys coming in there. I mean, there was a couple of times where it looked like Roethlisberger was about ready to say, screw it, I'm done, and retire at halftime.
We were putting a whooping on Pittsburgh. Yeah, a whooping on Pittsburgh to start the game.
They had free rushers on there. That one that Kendricks had, I mean, he came flying up in through there. And
with him now. And a sack. Eric Kendricks and Roethlisberger had no chance.
Leveled him.
Yeah, like you said, it looked like Roethlisberger wanted to retire halfway through the game.
Mm-hmm. But, then again, though, we get into the second half and, 29 points, that's enough. We don't need, we can just sit on that and try to run the clock out. And Pittsburgh made adjustments and we didn't. And all of a sudden,
it's a game again.
We're staring down the barrel of being the first team in NFL history to blow a 29-point lead during the regular season, of course.
How did we get here?
The same way we get here every week.
Yep. Why can't we put together a complete game?
Because that's just the coaching philosophy.
Once every 8-9 games, we can put together a complete game.
Zimmer doesn't have that killer instinct. He could have kept the foot on the gas in the second half, put another couple of scores up, and Pittsburgh would have.
I was worried. Excuse me. I was worried. Yeah. I thought we could have scored 60 fucking points if we would have just kept it up. But adjustments, like you said, were made, and we just were not privy to it.
Yeah, because, you know, it's no one could have expected Mike Tomlin to make any kind of adjustments at halftime because, you know.
Yeah.
So again, I don't want to get down the coaching rabbit hole too far because.
Yeah, I know we could. I almost took the bait there, dude.
Yeah.
It was there for me to take, but I didn't. And I know that you weren't even intentionally putting it out there, but it was there.
No, I know that carrot's dangling over the top of the hole, and we we're about ready to dive in after it. But but anyway, we're going to move on so we don't go down that hole because we got plenty of other stuff to talk about here yet. I didn't see the press conference itself, but I saw a couple of people respond. People that normally are relatively level-headed people on Twitter.
Now you're talking about the Zim press conference?
Yeah, the Zimmer press conference on Friday.
I can't watch those anymore.
I know. I quit watching them either.
A few years ago.
Right, but they were.
Shoot me now, everybody.
Mm-hmm. But I saw more than one person say that Zimmer, something looked off about Zimmer during that press conference. He like he was visibly shaken about something. So I don't know, you know, pure speculation as to why that would be or anything like that. I mean, was he still shitting bricks because he almost blew a 29-point lead? Has he been told, you know, that at the end of this season, his services will no longer be required in Minnesota? I don't know. I don't want to.
Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah. I don't really want to speculate on that right now, but it was just something that was brought up, and I thought, you know, bears repeating. Like I said, I don't watch Zimmer's press conferences anymore because they sicken me.
Like visibly shook it as in like he was going to cry.
Well, yeah, like he was. You could tell that he was upset or worried or something about. Like I said, I didn't watch it, but this is just a couple of people that I follow.
Rumblings in the grapevine.
Yep, that I follow that normally don't just post outlandish bullshit for no reason. So, but anyway, we're going to move on to our weekly awards segment. Again, we like to celebrate the best and the not so best of the previous games. So what we start off with, as always, is our Badass of the Week award.
Who is that guy? Whoever he is one tough badass.
Who do you have for that there, Lance?
I was only able to have one this week. The last couple of weeks I've had a couple, but
yeah, and I have no idea who you're picking. So
I bet you don't. You don't. Delvin Cook, the man, Delvin Cook.
Mm-hmm. The man, the myth, the cyborg, the whatever. And just to get it out there, he's mine as well. I mean, this is the most no-brainer badass award that we've had all year.
Yep. Unanimous decision this week on the badass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, he was just up in the stratosphere, and everybody else was, you know.
There was even their fans during the game, as the game was progressing, you know, the chatter was starting to come about the single game rushing record, you know.
Yeah, because I
mean, he looked good.
He was like at what, 180 something or 170 something anyway at the end of the first half. So I mean, it was well within reach. But then again, second half, then we just kind of puttered out and they sold out to stop the run, and we didn't do much else. So didn't happen, but still not going to sneeze at 205 yards, especially 11 days after separating your shoulder. So, so then after that, we go to what we call our Red Foreman Award.
Son, you don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Who do you have for that one?
Look, I got the reigning Red Foreman champion taking it again this week. And Michael Zimmer himself.
Okay.
Can't put together a complete game. Like I said earlier in the show, it's once every 9 games maybe that he puts together a game where you think, okay, it looks like a good complete game. It's just him. And he doesn't beat good teams on a consistent basis.
No. what is he
And it's getting to the point where he doesn't even beat bad teams on a consistent basis.
Right. Yeah. As we saw 2 weeks ago against Detroit. Yeah, for me, again, the Zimmer pick was too easy and I'm getting tired of giving it to him every week. So I'm going to go with Chris Boyd for his little bonehead little thing there. I mean, the only play that was probably dumber than Chris Boyd's was when Chase Claypool, Pittsburgh was marching down at the end of the game trying to get in position to score, and he gets a first down, and instead of
then
rushing,
blames this shit on his teammate.
Yeah, no, because they had no timeouts, and he's up and he's doing like this. Well, yeah, he's like, well, the reason it didn't get back to us because another guy tried to take it from me. Dude, he was trying to get the ball back to the officials because he was smart enough to realize that you guys didn't have any time left.
You could have just been a man and been like, you know what?
I fucked up. It was stupid in the heat of the moment, and I fucked up. But no, he had to go blatant, whatever. But I'm still giving it to Boyd, like I said, because not only did he get called for that taunting play that I believe didn't give him a free first down on like a third.
Yeah.
It was like third and 15 or something like that.
Yep. And then ultimately led to a touchdown, I believe.
Right. But I mean, when you literally get kicked off the field by your own team, you deserve the award. I mean, like I said, I know
absolutely
Xavier Woods got in his face, Anthony Barr got in his face when he got to the sidelines, everybody else got in his face, but he didn't take
Anthony
the hit.
Barr pushed in his shoulder pads, pointing towards the sideline.
Yeah, get your ass off the field. So I'm giving it to Boyd. So with that, we're going to move on to our fantasy football challenge recap. Again, we have the challenge going on not only between Lance and myself, but also Vikings Uncensored and our buddies Drew and Ted over at the Vikings Report. It's been back and forth with both sets here for the entire year.
It's been neck and neck all year, man.
Yep. From our side of things, between Lance and myself, Lance had a 3-game lead on me, and it's now a 2-game lead. I get the crown this week with a total of 82.5 to Lance's 73.75. So that puts Lance up 8 games to 6 with 4 remaining. So I basically have to run the table against you in order to win between the two of us. If you win one game, then you secure that one. But more importantly, we pulled out another one against the Vikings Report this week, putting us up 8-6 against them with a score of 156.25 to 134.9 for those guys, which puts our magic number at 2 for securing the season win versus those guys, and having them buy you and I each a steak dinner off the deal. So
Wagyu beef. Yum.
But there again, it's still anybody's game there. If they win out, they can still beat us. So
they control their own destiny.
Yeah, as do we. So, if we one more win for us secures at least a tie, which would then I believe we would have to go into the wild card weekend in order to get a win or to see who wins there. But our magic number is 2, so we'll do our picks later on in the show here and see how we do next week. With that, we are going to roll into another one of our classic beer commercials. So you guys head to the fridge, grab a cold one, crack it open, check this out, and we'll be back in a minute.
He is the life of parties he has never attended. If he were to punch you in the face, you would have to fight off the strong urge to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends.
Okay, we are back. And as we do every week, we are going to put the Pittsburgh game in the rearview mirror and look ahead to this Monday night when we travel to Soldier Field to take on
at Chicago.
the Chicago Bears.
The Bears. The Bears.
Monday night.
I think I thought we were at
football.
home a couple weeks ago, but yeah, we are in
Yeah,
Chicago on Monday night.
Yep. Here again, it's a place that we historically do not play well at. We have, of course, the Mike Zimmer, Matt Nagy factor, where as bad of
Matt Nagy has made him his bitch.
as bad of a coach as Matt Nagy is, Mike Zimmer is 1-5 against him with that lone win. That lone win coming last year.
This is a win that if we're going to talk playoffs here, if we're going to talk small miracles and playoffs here, this is a must win.
We pretty much have to win out, and if any, for anybody who has any aspirations of this team making the playoffs, we can maybe go 3-1 and do it, but
possibly go 3-1 and do it.
Right.
That's pushing it. That's looking at we're looking at what 9-8 then.
Mm-hmm. I mean, right now it's either 6 or 7 teams that are sitting at 6 and 7.
Yeah,
for pushing for that extra that 7th seed right now.
If you believe in small miracles, which they do happen, we need this win on Sunday.
Yeah. Of course, when we're facing with the Bears, we run into their new rookie quarterback who allegedly was the target of one Rick Spielman during the draft. In fact, there was a video out of the Vikings calling the Ravens and trying to move up, and the Ravens basically telling us not to call them unless they come back with a realistic offer.
Serious offer, right?
One Justin Fields. Now Fields has had a rough year for the most part. I mean, he's shown a few flashes. He's got an arm. He can make a lot of plays with his legs, which worries me because, like we here again, beating a dead horse, we always tend to struggle against running quarterbacks. And realistically,
even rookie quarterbacks in general, we tend to struggle against.
Yeah.
Any quarterback that's not a regular starter, we struggle against.
Yeah. But that being said, Fields has a real bad tendency of holding the ball too long, and he takes a lot of sacks.
Yeah, he held the ball for way too long this past weekend.
Yeah, when they were playing the Packers. Yeah, I mean, and Chicago made a game of it against Green Bay until at the very end when Packers pulled away. But again, the run game, they've got Montgomery, who in the past has given us trouble.
Right.
Of course, it seems like most Bears running backs do give us trouble from time, for the most part too. Wide receivers, nothing real special outside of Allen Robinson. Darnell Mooney is their other.
That Mooney guy is looking pretty decent.
Yeah, I think he could be a good wide receiver down the road, and he's been their number 2 guy and stepped in fairly well when Robinson was struggling, had with some injuries and stuff. Then they've got their tight ends.
He's been putting up some nice numbers and making some splash plays.
Yeah,
so
I mean, you got to account for him, which we're going to have issues with again, as we've seen many times. They just start throwing it out to the edges, and our cornerbacks can't cover, or we're playing 7 yards off, or whatever the case may be, and they just start dinking dunking down the field, getting chunk plays, and all of a sudden we're back into a tight game.
Cole Kmet is a name to keep on, to keep an eye on as well.
Yep, he's been a pretty reliable target from the tight end spot. They've also got the rotting corpse of Jimmy Graham, who I believe caught passes from Jim McMahon. He's been around for so long. But then we roll over onto the defensive side of things, of course. That's where Chicago has done most of its damage the last few years. Now they've got guys out. Khalil Mack is not, he's out for the year. Akeem Hicks is banged up. He didn't play against Green Bay, and I have not heard yet this week. This is Tuesday, so the injury reports don't come out until Wednesday.
Right.
But it's questionable whether or not Hicks will be able to play. If he can't go, that's a big benefit. I mean, he gives us fits all the time.
He's a big boy.
He's kind of a dick too, but he's he's a badass out there, and it's if he's out, I'll take it.
Yeah, he's definitely their big run stuffer for sure.
Mm-hmm. But then from the linebacker spots, you've got Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn, both very good players who, can get after the quarterback.
Yep.
Eddie Jackson is a good safety. He's back there making plays, run game, pass game. Their secondary, other than Jackson, can probably be exploited. Artie Burns, who's one of their top 2 cornerbacks, he went on the COVID list as of Tuesday, so it's questionable. I don't know his back status, whatever. If he's vaccinated, he only has to have 2 negative tests in order to come back. So,
right.
By Monday he could be back. I don't know. But beyond that, I think if we're going to exploit the Bears defense, I think it's going to have to be through the air.
Yeah, I believe so too. It's gonna go into whether Artis Hicks is playing or not.
Mm-hmm.
Akeem
Hicks, you mean?
Where am I with my names tonight? Usually it's you with the names. Tonight it's me, man.
Artis Hicks?
Artis. Oh, we had a Artis Hicks
back in the day, yeah. At one point.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Early onset dementia or something going on today.
It's the fact that we're recording at 10:15 at night on a Tuesday. I think probably more than anything, but
that could play into it as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's the things for us again. It's kind of the same question marks we've had. Adam Thielen, have not heard if he is.
I don't look for him to be back. Honestly,
I don't either. High ankle sprains are, especially with somebody with a wide receiver, we got to be making cuts and running and like they do and everything. Personally, if he's not 100%, I don't even try to trot him out there. Let him sit for another week.
And with the way KJ's been playing, and the way Justin's been playing, why don't rush him back.
No, if Westbrook is still on COVID list and everything like that, then if we start getting a little bit thinner in the wide receiver position, you basically have Jefferson and KJ, then you would end up with probably Smith Marset being wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they would do beyond that. I believe Wap Fillier's still on the isn't he still on practice squad? You could probably bring him up.
Yeah. Speaking of which, one thing that we didn't touch on, I did like that extra lineman set that we had going against Pittsburgh.
When we're bringing Brandel in there, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, with the need at receiver and not having the personnel there, maybe running that extra lineman set we'll see more of that.
It's very possible. I mean, it seemed to work for us. So I mean and plus when you've got guys, like we talked about Quinn and Roquan Smith that can come off the edge and get after the quarterback, having an extra blocker in there is not going to hurt.
Right. Another big body for sure. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked what I seen out of that package. I mean, Brandel was he was lining up against, guys that he should be beating. So
right. But beyond that, again, another primetime game for Kirk Cousins. He kind of fell on his face during the last one, still won the game, but did not have a good game. Hopefully he can turn this around. Now, he did beat the Bears in primetime last year, so we know he can do it. The biggest thing, how is Dalvin Cook going to be? I don't know that I see him getting another 200 yards against this Bears defense, but if he can be productive and we can move the ball on the ground, it's going to help. Weather at this time of the year in Chicago, God knows what it could be by Monday, But like I mentioned before, I think if we're going to do the most damage, it's going to be through the air, getting Jefferson deep downfield, and
I'd have to agree with you there,
taking shots to him, and then if he's covered, taking shots to KJ. We do that, I think we can be okay this game. I don't know, you got anything else to hit on this before we move on, or?
No, I don't think so. I think you pretty much nailed everything pretty good.
Okay, so with that,
I think we're gonna have to move the ball through the air this week for sure. No mistakes, man.
Mm-hmm.
Eliminate those mistakes.
And we need to stop the run, because if you let Montgomery get going, he will hurt you.
Yeah.
And then they've got that, was it Khalil Harris, I think is their second running back, or something like that. They use him out of the backfield quite a bit. So with that, we will move on to our picks and prognostications section. So we will start with the game itself. What do you think? We got a shot at this one, or?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take us this week. I believe we get back to 500. They start baiting us in again, dude. They're gonna start baiting us in, man. You just wait. It's gonna happen. And like the mouse takes the cheese, I'm gonna take it, man. I'm gonna go with the Vikings this week again. Coming up with a big win against Chicago on Monday night.
I wish I shared your optimism for this, but looking at all the historical stuff, the trouble we have at Soldier Field, Mike Zimmer versus Matt Nagy. I mean, Nagy's coaching for his life over there too. I mean, most likely he's gone at the end of the year too. But it doesn't seem to matter how good or how bad the Bears are. It seems like he's always got Zimmer's number. I mean, we go out, we have to stay aggressive for 4 quarters. We can't just be aggressive for 2 quarters.
Complete game.
And then 2 minutes at the end, because we let the game get away from us, and then we have to try to get, either secure the win or get back in and win.
All 3 division games this year that we played so far have all been tight. So, I mean, and Green Bay was very, it mirrored that Pittsburgh game a lot too. Not quite as bad as the collapse that we had against Pittsburgh, but there are a lot alike, those 2 games were, I believe.
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing with the Bears is we've got them twice in the next 4 weeks. So
yeah,
we have to, it'd be nice to secure this win. I like our chances better at home than I do at Soldier Field. So I think it's going to come down to be a 1-score game again. Could go either way, but as my gut doesn't really have a good feeling about this, but it's kind of telling me that I think Bears are going to end up pulling it out at the end and basically put a nail in the end of the season for us.
Last quarter of the season, man.
Mm-hmm.
Coming down to this 4-0 or go home.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Pretty much. Then beyond that, we will move on to our fantasy picks for this week. And as again has become the tradition, last week's winner gets to go first. So again, 2 caveats. You cannot pick anybody from the Thursday night game, since that game already will have happened by the time you see both of our shows on Friday. And once you pick a player, you cannot pick them again. with that, we take a quarterback, we take a running back, we take 2 wide receivers and a tight end. So on to my quarterback. We're starting to get down to stems and seeds as far as some of these positions, but I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit on this one. I got to be aggressive and try to close the gap with Lance here. This guy's had really good games the last 3 weeks. I mean, he's ranking up top 10, 12 in quarterbacks. So I am taking Tua Tagovailoa versus the Jets.
Ooh, I was waiting for Mac Jones.
After Mac Jones threw 3 passes last week, I can't in good conscience pick him. I mean, granted, they are playing indoors at, in Indianapolis this week, but
yeah,
I'm still not sold on Mac Jones. He's fits right into what Belichick wants to do, which is not much from the quarterback side of things right now. I mean, but he does enough. But
yeah,
I thought long and hard about Carson Wentz, but I didn't pick him for the same reason because he's going against Belichick. So,
right.
Who do you got for quarterback?
Tua, huh? I'm going to go with Kyler Murray versus Detroit.
Okay.
Is Derrick Henry out for the year?
Yes. He might be back playoffs, but he's not going to be back for the regular season.
I'm going to go with Donta Foreman then.
Of the Titans?
Yeah, I'll go with Donta Foreman of the Titans then for my running back.
Who are they playing?
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I was going to go kind of but with the injury and all that. But then I was also looking at Dr. Johnson earlier today because I was going to go with him too because of the holes that our offensive line was opening up for Pittsburgh. So I'll take my chances, and I'm going to go with Dr. Johnson this week from
Freeman, you mean?
Donta Foreman.
Foreman, yeah.
From Tennessee.
Tennessee. All right. Okay, we know who you're saying. Whether even if you can't say it, we know who you're saying.
Yeah, he's not your big show house name of a running back, but like I said, I'm going with the Tennessee running back just because of the fact that Delvin chewed up Pittsburgh last week.
Yeah. For me, I'm taking Antonio Gibson versus Philly.
He's out of Washington.
With the football team. Yeah.
Okay, your first receiver.
T. Higgins versus Denver.
Okay. I'm going to go with Minnesota's own KJ Osborne versus Chicago.
I thought about doing that. Then who's your second receiver?
I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson versus Tennessee.
Okay. I'm going to take Brandon Cooks versus Jacksonville.
And your tight end.
Tight end, I'm going to take the guy that almost beat us last week, Pat Freiermuth versus Tennessee.
Ooh. He's going to be good. He's going to be a good tight end, that's for sure. And with that being said, I'm going to go with Gesicki versus the Jets.
Okay. So those are our picks for the week. We will see how we do, and hopefully we can get that magic number versus Vikings report down to 1 after this week.
Let's keep this rolling.
With that, that's about all we've got for this week. Again, want to thank Boulder Tap House for sponsoring the show as they normally do. Remember, everybody, to if you didn't catch it, go back and find that secret phrase. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that red button down there. Hit the bell so you never miss an update when we put out new shows. But comment in the section down below with the secret phrase to win this awesome Adam Thielen limited edition print that we are giving away wildcard weekend. Again, big thank you to everybody for watching. Thank you to everybody who's listening on the audio podcast. We've been getting some really good playback on there. We're available on most of your standard audio podcast channels, or you can find all the audio casts on the podcast tab of our Facebook page. Also, keep an eye out for during the game Monday night. I will once again be doing the live recaps. We'll do the pregame, and then we'll do quarter breaks, and then we'll wrap up at the end of the game as well again. Those seem to be going well. Everybody's thank you for everybody who is commenting and interacting with that. I enjoy the hell out of that, and it's a lot of fun, so I'm going to keep doing it. But with that, why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
39. Who am I going to use for this week's episode? We'll have to see. Once again, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us for an hour or so on Friday night. Appreciate having you. Look forward to seeing y'all again for the next 5-10 years. We'll get there. Anyways,
as long as you guys keep watching, we'll keep putting episodes out. So.
Right. Keep putting the word out there for us too. That helps. It helps. If you enjoy watching us, we would appreciate it if you went out there and told your friends about us.
Yes.
Anyways,
most appreciated.
Let's go. What's up?
I said that would be most appreciated.
That'd be swell.
Yes. Golly gee willikers, that would be just swell.
Let's go to Chicago and let's kick some Bears ass. I'm looking forward to it. Monday night game. Let's do it. Let's go 4-0 to end the year. Let's keep Zimmer's foot in that door a little bit longer.
I don't want to see that, but I'll take 4-0 if we get it.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week on another episode of Vikings Uncensored.
We'll see you guys.
Let's go.